In our last video, we're trying to look at how to calculate the cost of equity. And we said in that video that cost of equity, all right, equals to dividend in year 0 into 1 plus G divided by the market price of share X div, then plus G. All right, so the problem is in the exam, this growth may not be given to you. If you're lucky to meet examiners that smile, right? Examiners that are very lenient, they give you the growth rate. They tell you growth rate over the period is 3%, 2%, to infinity or for 3 years and all of that. But some other examiners will not give to you. It means you have to determine the growth rate embedded in the dividend pattern that's been given. In that case, how do you estimate this growth rate? Come, let me show you. There are two methods, right? Growth rate. Method of estimating growth rate. Method 1 is the use of historical method. Historical method. All right? Or some persons call it extrapolation method. What does this mean? We are saying that look at the dividend trend over the period. Dividend in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. Over the years, and then try to estimate the growth, the way that movement, the dividend is moving. Try to estimate the growth rate in that pattern that's been given to you. And that's what this method is talking about, right? So how do you calculate that? Our G, right, equals to you have root of n minus 1 latest dividend divided by the earliest dividend, then minus 1. This is how to calculate that. What are we saying here? Simply put, our n here, n equals to the number of years. How many observations do you have? Year 1, 2, 3, 4. Just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You bring it here, n minus 1. Latest dividend is the dividend, the last dividend that you have. The most recent dividend that have been paid is what you call the latest dividend. Earliest dividend is the earliest dividend you can observe. That's the earliest one that has been paid. All right, and this is how to calculate the historical, the growth rate using historical method. And the second method is the Gordon's growth model. All right, and according to Gordon is saying that to calculate growth in any company is determined by the portion of their profit after tax that they can save or that they can retain. If, for instance, I have two companies, one company is paying, let's say they are making 500,000 every year, their profit after tax. One company decides to be retaining 80%. Retaining 80% means that it's paying out only 20% to shareholders. And the other company is retaining as much as little as 20%, meaning that that one is paying 80%. Now look at the thing here. Shareholders collect 80% of profit after tax for company B. Company A, shareholders collect only 20% of profit after tax, while 80% is actually retained. According to Gordon's model is saying that the company that actually retains more, assuming that they have the same earnings after tax, the company that retains more is actually expected to have more growth rate, because of course the more you retain, the more your company balance sheet increases, and the more you have more money for investment, the more you have more money for expansion and all of that. So ordinarily and naturally, it's expected that a company that retains more profit has more growth or higher growth compared to the counterparty. And according to that, Gordon is saying that G equals to R multiplied by B. All right. So where R equals to return on equity. Return on equity is simply how much they get on their investment, or return on investment, whichever way you want to call it, ROI, right? And then B is retention. Remember, this model is anchored on retention principle. If I retain more, I'm expected to get more growth. So retention ratio. So what we are saying here, if I make 500,000 profit after tax, all right, and my policy is to have a payout ratio. Payout ratio is the portion of the profit after tax that I'm paying out to shareholders. Let's say that my payout ratio, payout equals to, let's say 10%. If I'm paying out 10% of this, simply what it means is that my retention here is 90%. It means if I'm retaining 90% and another company is retaining only, let's say 10%, definitely my company is expected to be growing higher than that other company. Why? Because I'm retaining more of my profit. And that's basically what Gordon's model is talking about. All right. So first and foremost, we go into this historical method. Let's look at how to calculate this historical method. Just come with me. Look at this here. You have year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and then you have the dividend. Dividend in year 1 is 15, year 2, 18. Now, one problem with this historical method is that it does not really consider the dividend in between, because what we are looking for is the dividend, the earliest dividend that has been paid, which is dividend in year 1 here, which is 15, and the latest dividend that has been paid, which is 21, right? So it means this 18 and 20 is not relevant to me, all right? And that's one of the issues with this historical method approach. However, if I want to calculate the growth here, we say G equals to root of n minus 1 latest dividend divided by earliest dividend, then minus 1 is what gives me the growth rate. In this case, our n here is, just count the observation, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 years. So G equals to root of 4 minus 1. Latest dividend is the most recent dividend I can see. In some questions, after giving you a table, they go to additional note and tell you the recent dividend that has been paid is 30, for instance. In that case, what we'll be having here becomes 30 instead as against this 21. And then your number of observation will increase by 1. All right, just take note. All right, so here we have 21 divided by earliest dividend is 15, and then I have minus 1. Simple. So my G becomes root of, that's third root now, 21 divided by 15 and then minus 1. So if I punch that effectively, 21 divided 15, that should give me 1.4. That should be 1.11. So if I subtract 1 from it, that should give me 0.1186889 something. And so we can say approximately this is like a 12%. All right, or let's say 11.87%. This becomes my growth rate. All right, I hope you understand. What you do for me, go to the next. Let's say this becomes 5 and this is now 30. All right, what do you think will be the growth rate in this case? All right, please put your answer in the comment section. In the next video, we'll be looking at how to calculate growth using the Gordon's ratio or Gordon's model. And after that, we pick an exam question from ACCA-FM and the ICANN SFM. And then we see how this was tested there. And then we'll take it off from there. Thank you for listening. If you have any question, please put it on the comment section. See you again in the next video. Bye.